Okay, we're standing under a Horwood Bagshaw combine. It was originally a cultivator combine, which we've converted to a no-kill cropping disc machine. We've built this undercarriage with the AgroPlow Acroplant discs set at 12-inch spacings. The idea of having a disc combine is being able to sow our annual cereals or summer cereals with minimal soil disturbance. The AgroPlow disc units are built here in Wellington, so we've used a local manufacturer and are very happy with the results from this machine so far. The beauty of this machine is we're able to use very low horsepower and travel at quite high speeds, enabling us to cover or sow our annuals quite quickly and very inexpensively, and that's the biggest benefit of a disc machine. We're also finding in our cropping situation that a disc versus tine crop establishment is comparable, so we're tending to use our discs more than we are our tine machine as we get more experienced and more confident in the disc undercarriage. We use the disc machine in paddocks where our soil is the softest, and we're also using them in paddocks where we want the biggest ecological lift by sowing a cereal rye or an oat crop. The reason that we use it in paddocks with soft soil is that the discs don't give us as much disturbance, so we're getting better results with minimal disturbance in soft soil, and we're not finding it's necessary to use a tine machine in paddocks with soft soil. Okay, for sowing our crops we do use a tine machine as well as a disc machine. We have a combine exactly the same as this with a tine direct drill undercarriage on it as well. We use the tines on about 50 to 60% of our paddocks and the discs on the remaining. We use the tines in paddocks which we think are a bit tighter, and also paddocks where we're looking for a little bit of soil disturbance to increase seedling vigour. We're using the discs on paddocks which have the softest soil and the paddocks which we think will benefit from the least amount of disturbance. These discs are set at 12-inch spacings under this combine. The reason we went with 12-inch spacings, we think it's a healthy balance between plant establishment and the cost of the machine. The discs cost about $1,300 each, which is substantial. So we tried to balance the cost and have the right row spacing as well for successful crop establishment and competitiveness of the crop that we're establishing. Okay, well this disc combine is used predominantly for our no-kill cropping. The principles of no-kill cropping emphasise the importance of minimal soil disturbance. We're also starting to use the disc undercarriage for some of our pasture cropping, and that's in the paddocks which we think are most suitable, so the paddocks with the softest soil and the highest ground cover. So that's how we use it. We have a tined undercarriage as well for the rest of our pasture cropping paddocks. The conversion of this machine was relatively simple. It's a bolt-on machine with these springs and a couple of pins at the front. We're able to drive on and off this undercarriage here. So this was built separate to the machine, and then we drove the machine over it once it was built. Actually, these disc units are individual units, which are a parallelogram unit with a press wheel, gauge wheel, and a double disc as an opening device with a single chute for the seed to follow in between the discs. These units are set at 12-inch spacings, and there's 20 units across the machine. It's a 6-metre wide machine. The inspiration for this combine came from borrowing Bruce Maynard's combine, which has the same undercarriage. We borrowed it about 4 years ago to do a trial, and we actually used it on about 700 acres and gave it back to him, so he certainly gave it a good try. We were very happy with the results. We actually have Bruce here today, so he can give you a bit of insight on how he developed the machine for his purposes and how we came about using it after that.
The Morris's machine is a great example of taking the no-kill principles to a next step. They've got wonderful flexibility here with machinery that can be used for pasture cropping or no-kill cropping. Well, the advantages of these particular units that they've used is that they have two single discs which we'll show in detail, and they're straight. There's no curve in them, and they also run straight to the ground. That allows them to create the least disturbance as they go through the soil planting the crop. The slot that these units make is only in the order of 1 centimetre deep to 1/2 centimetre wide. It's placing the seed in the soil, but not putting it at great depth. That gives the seed all the advantage that it needs. It gets soil coverage, and it's advantaged versus the annual weeds that might be competing with it. Another advantage of these units is their trash handling ability. They will go through any amount of material. That provides a lot of advantages for the work that the Morrises and other people might do, in that they don't have to change their grazing regime in order to go and sow the crop. It doesn't matter how much vegetation is there, these units will cut through and still sow the crop right through, and without killing out any plants that they have there on the site. And that's one of the key principles of no-kill, is that you need to sow crops without killing what you already have. Another great advantage of these types of machinery is their low energy requirement. The ability to be able to pull this machinery with very, very low power gives some great benefit in terms of fossil fuel use, reduction of costs, and our potential needs in the future with climate change for us to reduce the energy drastically in our crop sowing. Being able to reduce costs by using either a very, very small tractor or even using your ute to be able to pull combines and go and sow crops is a huge advantage. The reduction in power is in the order of 80% plus. And the other great advantage is lack of compaction. These units will not compact your soil.